Yesterday, we got a brand new Nintendo Direct focused on Mario Kart World, and you probably heard all the comments and people's complaints online. It was a show, alright. A lot of people felt like it was just simply something that they could have tweeted out or sent as an email. It was literally an overview trailer with a little bit of new information. Most of it was just stuff that we knew already. The game still looks great, but for a lot of people, they still haven't shown enough to justify that huge $80 price tag. Maybe this game does have a lot of greatness that they just didn't show us yet, because at the end of the day, they only showed us like 2 missions and a couple glimpses of some of the other game modes, so maybe Nintendo still has a lot to show, but yeah, they kind of just wasted an Nintendo Direct where a lot of that could have been shown off. So today, I want to talk about how we could actually make Mario Kart World worth $80 and how that Nintendo Direct could have been a lot better. Before we get started, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. If you guys want to stay up to date on all things Mario Kart World, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, especially if you enjoyed today's video. But let's jump into how we can make this Nintendo Direct better and this game actually worth $80. The first thing I want to say is, what if there isn't enough to justify the $80 price tag, but Nintendo still could have showed us a lot of new stuff still to keep us entertained during this Nintendo Direct, because about 10 of the 15 minutes was over stuff that we already knew, and that new stuff was very, very light. I feel like they could have just structured the Direct better and showed off more of the things that they wanted to give us information on. I feel like Nintendo's new philosophy is hide all the new stuff and leave it for surprises, which for a lot of people might be good, but for other people it may not be enough to justify people to buy this game. You're supposed to sell this game and show off why people want to purchase this game, and I feel like hiding every single new feature behind a wall of $80 is kind of strange, considering the fact that everything we've seen so far is just baseline Mario Kart with the free roam mode. I get not spoiling every boss battle or story beat of a game, but if there's a huge main mechanic that you're just hiding, or a huge main gimmick or some type of mode that you're not showing off, it can end up hurting your sales and hurting people's perception of the game before they even make that $80 purchase. And once again, with something like $80, you really have to show off what's new with this game, and I feel like this Nintendo Direct did not do that. But let me dive into the specifics of how to make this game worth $80 and also how to fix this Nintendo Direct. First off, I want to start off with versus mode. They show that you are allowed to make your own path from one track to another, and you can do this with any track on the map, which is pretty cool. So you can have a lot of different options for different paths that you get to drive. But I wish they actually allowed us to make our own tours as well, allowing us to choose up to 4 or 5 different tracks to race to, making our own tour around this open world. That would give us almost unlimited possibilities with different paths that we get to choose and chart our own maps. That alone would make the game last for probably multiple years of just having different types of paths that you make with your friends, but it's not a huge deal breaker for sure. I'm still glad that we can at least choose 2 different tracks to build our own intermission track in between. But another thing I still just don't get and thought really needed an update was the food, because it's just really basic. Once again, it still just only gives you a costume and a slight boost, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me when sometimes they're lined up across the road, meaning everyone on the track is going to get that boost. It's like everybody getting a mushroom, and on top of that, what if you already have all the costumes in the game or all the costumes for that character? You're not really getting anything going off the beaten path and collecting this. I really wish it had some type of game-changing mechanic, and it actually showed some type of new thing that it did for the track. For instance, it worked almost like a wonder effect of a wonder flower, either changing the status or effects of the actual racer, or maybe changing up the track drastically as well, adding some type of new gimmick that could really fix those long straightaway intermission tracks by changing it up a little bit. Maybe one of the bags of food actually makes a whole bunch of traffic appear, making it like rush hour on the road, or maybe one bag of food makes some type of boss appear or some type of event happen in the overworld, like a volcano erupts or earthquake happens and splits the path in 2, changing up the terrain or something. Something like that would have been greatly appreciated and would have easily fixed these long straightaway paths. I think another big problem with this is just the lack of speed. This has always been shown off in like 100cc, and they still haven't showed gameplay of this really with 150cc races and actually hard computer difficulty, because I feel like with those combinations this could be a lot more interesting, but they're not showing us this. Like for instance, they could have even shown us 200cc. It does seem to be in the game, because in one of the scenes where they showed the difficulty and they actually showed the speed, it looked like you could click the arrow right for a faster speed as well, but they haven't even talked about it. Why are they not talking about 200cc, and why is that something that needs to be kept a secret for people to play day one? it's a speed control. But I've also heard some people say that they've seen in demos that it just goes back to 50cc when you click right. So if there's no 200cc either, yeah, that's an issue when it was in a game that came out 11 years ago. Especially when I feel like 200cc works better in a game like this, where you have a lot of straightaways and open roads compared to something like Mario Kart 8 with a lot of twists and turns. Dude, I feel like there's certain times where I felt this game could go even higher, like a 250 or even a 300cc. So I don't know if Nintendo's trying to do that planned update thing that they normally do with their games, making us wait for updates where they add stuff like 200cc or more. But either way, yeah, it's kind of bad that it's not there day one if it isn't there. Now, I kind of talked about this with the food, but once again, I don't know if we necessarily need wonder events, but it'd be really cool if we just had events that happened on the track. There's a couple scenes, it looks like there might be some areas that have these events. For instance, we can see in this scene a giant sandmarg jumping out of the sand, or in this scene, a bunch of item boxes falling out of the sky, but it looks like on a lot of these, it could be just in free roam mode. But I hope a lot of these straightaways have these little overworld events to keep the race interesting. Like the giant vehicles, for instance, that they refuse to talk about. They showed a glimpse of it in the first reveal trailer and just barely talk about the thing. Like they showed another small glimpse and that's pretty much about it. What's up with these giant vehicles? Like we can see clearly in this one there's a helicopter, and from a demo gameplay we saw that there's a speedboat. But how do these actually work within races? Are they even useful to use? And going back to the Direct, if people in the demo can play this and even record this gameplay and share it online, then why are we hiding it from a Nintendo Direct? It's not like a big secret. Like almost everybody that wants to see this have seen this so far. Like this video has blown up about this giant speedboat. Why in the world is Nintendo deciding to keep it a secret for players? Just show us what these do and what's the point of even having them in the game. Another gameplay we've seen from the demo that should have some type of overworld event is this giant whirlpool in the middle of this ocean area. Like, why is there just a giant whirlpool and nothing coming out of it? We just fly over it and land on the other side. So I'm really hoping that there's something to this and that they're still just hiding information from us, because this would be a perfect event to have a giant gooper blooper in the middle with its tentacles sticking out that we have to dodge in the air or something. Now, this might sound like a small one, but they have got to clean up this roster. It is an absolute mess. They have each individual costumes listed as individual character slots, and this might not seem like a huge problem right now, but when it becomes a problem is if they continue to add more costumes, which I really hope they will via free updates. Spoiler alerts, I'm about to be talking about that as well. But yes, they're going to be adding costumes, I assume, so this character roster is going to turn into a complete nightmare. There's going to be like 50 pages of different characters to scroll through. Yes, you can sort them. I've seen a lot of people's comments saying, did you see you can sort them? But it doesn't make it any better. If I have a whole screen full of like 10 different Marios, it's just annoying, and it's just something that could be easily fixed by slapped into their own individual folders or tabs underneath each specific character. You click on the character, you then choose the character skin. I don't really know why it's that hard. I think the main reason Nintendo did this is because each costume seems to have its own animations when you do tricks and stuff, and its own kind of flair to it, almost changing the character up. So I get it because of that, but still, there's a lot easier way to organize this, especially if there's more costumes coming along the way. Now, something I previously mentioned is something that they were lacking in is any type of updates on updates. We don't know if there's any updates, free or paid, coming to this game. Is there going to be DLC? Well, of course, this probably isn't the best time to announce that, but at least show us some free updates. Like, I'm expecting there to be new costume choices every week or maybe every month to give us new things to purchase. Maybe there's a little online shop that rotates in and out new costumes for your characters that you can actually use the in-game coins for. Because just like in Mario Kart 8, the coins were pretty useless, where you only used them to unlock like the final golden cart and all the pieces for that. So why not let us use our coins in order to buy new costumes? So I'm hoping that there's new costumes and even new characters coming to the game at later times, kind of, you know, greatly expanding the length and the lifetime of this game, kind of like Smash Brothers does with new characters and new stages. So I am hoping that there are going to be updates like that. It's just, once again, unfortunate that they didn't even want to talk about that. The game needs more modes. Yes, free roam is in the game, and I'll talk about that in a second. But besides from that, the only new mode we have is Knockout Tour, which is great. But why is that the only new mode in an $80 Mario Kart game? Like, we saw Battle Mode is returning, but it only has 2 basic modes, being Balloon Battle and Coin Runners. They didn't bring any of the other modes from Mario Kart 8, like Shine Thief, which was a really good one, and even the Cops and Robbers game mode that a lot of people enjoyed. Why are those not coming back? Once again, it feels like Nintendo's almost setting themselves up to have free updates in the future, but these free updates is just content that should have been there day one, which we've seen them do multiple times on like all the sports titles. So I will not be surprised if they decide to bring them at a later date just for the sake of having updates. But yeah, it should have been talked about in some capacity here, and I really wish there were more game modes because there was really nothing to make me say, oh wow, they added this? Yes, I know I talked a while about eventually having a battle royale mode. I just think it makes a lot of sense with something of an open world game. You have this giant map, use this giant map. What better way to use this giant map than to have a cool Mario Kart Battle Royale mode, which would just be a big version of Balloon Battle? Why not? The mode is in the game, you have the map, you just need to create like a moving circle, kind of like Fortnite has, and there you go. There's your Battle Royale. And it's just strange they didn't come up with any other unique game modes like that. Also, when they showed Battle Mode, it was only literally like an 18-second clip where they showed a couple tracks and that was it. Yeah, they needed to show more. This is a Nintendo Direct about Mario Kart World. Show us some gameplay. Free roam mode is something that I'm still very excited for, and I'm not gonna lie, I still really wish that there was a separate story mode that was separate from free roam. Something that you could actually go in, complete tasks, talk to NPCs, have a little story, have boss battles, and I still really wish that was in the game, but it's not a game ender for me, because at least we do have missions in the form of the P-switches, but even with those, I wish they showed more of them. This complaint is more along the lines of the Direct just not being a Direct and instead being an overview trailer, and that's the problem. This was scheduled as a Nintendo Direct. This isn't supposed to be an overview trailer. They're supposed to be giving us new information on this game and why we want to go out and buy it. They said that there were hundreds of these missions and they showed 2 of them. 2 of hundreds. They spent 90% of the Direct talking about things like Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, here's your characters, here's the track, stuff that we have known about, instead of spending more time talking about what is up with this free roam mode. For instance, there's other things like gold peach coins that we can collect, and also these question block panels, but we don't even know what they do. They showed 1 of each and didn't explain any of them. And I guarantee you it's nothing crazy. It's something that they definitely could have told us, but they wanted to keep a secret for some reason. I guarantee you it's probably just like a book of achievements and it just keeps track of which ones you've done, or maybe it gives you a little sticker or something from one of the advertisements, as you can see at the bottom. Something extremely basic. Maybe you can decorate your cart or your character. It could have been cool to show that off. I don't understand why that's something that you want to keep a secret, but yeah, it's just like, why not give us any more information on these things? This was a lot of people's main complaint with the game, is that the free roam mode just looked too open and not a lot to do. There wasn't a lot to interact with, and it just felt like it was a lot of empty space, and they still didn't really clear up this information that much. Yes, there's P-switches, but what are the variety of these missions? Are we going to have boss battle missions like we did in the DS days? Are there going to be more interesting missions that actually have us doing really unique, cool, different things? It's hard to say, and it's hard to tell what else this game is going to have to offer, and it's just kind of leaving us in the dark. And I wish this Direct actually went in and showed us details, giving us more examples of mission variety. They don't have to spoil the game, but give us something to say, oh my gosh, what is that? I'm very interested in seeing what that is now. I didn't get any of that. And lastly, the online is just extremely bare bones. It's identical pretty much to Mario Kart 8, with now you having the option to just kind of drive around in free roam as you wait for players to join up and stuff. But the menus and everything, it's pretty much Mario Kart 8 done all over again. And there's not many other options to do anything. In fact, they actually removed one of the options being tournament mode, which once again, they're probably going to have to shoehorn in as a free update later on, just to give us an excuse to look forward to updates coming to this game. How in the world did they not just bring tournament mode back over? Because it's something that a lot of players love to have in Mario Kart 8. It was something that was really cool for content creators to host their own little tournaments and to play with fans and the public, but we can't do that, at least as of the launch of this game. which is just strange to me, and that just screams something that should be in an $80 priced video game. I mean, shoot, even a proper ranked mode would have been really cool to see here, kind of something the way Splatoon does, but nope, it's still the point system that we've been doing since Mario Kart Wii. So it's kind of unfortunate that they didn't update any of that with the online play, and that's just one of my many problems. Yeah, I don't like to sit and complain and not have reasons as to why I've complained, and that's pretty much my answer. I feel like if you're going to charge $80 for a video game, you gotta fill it with content. And with Nintendo and their reps and president and vice president of America actually telling us that this game was full of content and we would have to wait for the Nintendo Direct to find out why, it's kind of insane that just felt like a flat out lie when this Nintendo Direct didn't give really anyone anything else new to really justify that $80 price tag. I'm still very excited for this game, but it's very evident that there's a lot of things missing from this game, and there's a lot of things that it definitely should have. And for that $80 price tag, it should feel like an absolute complete full package, where it feels like they're setting this game up for future updates and maybe even DLC. Let me know what you guys think. Are you still excited for this game? Were you let down by the Nintendo Direct? And what things would have been in this game to justify that $80 price tag for you? Let me know down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.